Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pichael's Picks. This episode is about the EULCS on Friday. Last week I did pretty good in the EULCS, so I'm excited to play on this one as well. Unfortunately, I think the contests are a decent amount smaller this week. I'm not sure why, but I'm not in charge of Draftkings, so let's just get straight into it. Unicorns of Love versus Splice. Unicorns of Love. Splice is in fourth with a 5-5 record. Unicorns of Love is in last place. That is not good. So this means Splice is the third largest favorite on the day. This is a week where most teams are relatively large favorites. There are no really close matchups. So you're going to have to find one of the underdogs that you think will either lose better than everyone else, or can pull off an upset. Unicorns of Love versus Splice. Let's see. Is an upset possible? Ottawamne versus White Knight. Not looking good for you there. Xerxes versus Cold. Maybe. Niski versus Exile. Maybe. Kabi versus Samix. Kabi's better. And Kasing versus Totoro, I think just Unicorns of Splice's bot lane is just better. So between the bot lane and the jungle, I think it's most likely that Splice is going to win this matchup. However, Unicorns of Love just beat Giants. Giants is in a similar spot to Splice. Can they go back-to-back, beating teams that are most likely better than them? I think it's unlikely. But they did get a bunch of kills and stuff too in that game, right? Yeah, it could be worth it. So if you think that Unicorns of Love has turned the corner and they're going to start being more competitive in their matches, then you are getting a decent amount of value for the price, even though they are in last place. So do you think they're a last place team? Yes or no? Do you think that their win versus Giants was a fluke? Do you think it was more that Unicorns of Love played well, or did Giants just play terribly? So Splice should win this matchup. Who knows how high the upside is for Splice. So Splice probably isn't a good option, and you just need to figure out whether or not Unicorns of Love is going to fit into your lineup. Rockcat versus G2. Rockcat 5-5. G2 is now in first place like they should be. So 7-3. G2 is obviously better than Rockcat. I would expect G2 to win every single matchup the rest of the season somewhat decisively. The only teams that have a chance against them are Vitality and Fnatic, I think. Maybe, yeah, really those two. I couldn't see them losing to any of these teams, or I wouldn't feel good picking it. I don't think it's over a 50% chance they're going to lose to any of those teams. So I think G2, they are the second biggest favorite on the day. So you're getting better value than Fnatic, which is a great thing. You always want to have as much value as possible. And those like that little bit of money, if that is the difference between being able to fit in a better underdog, then it's going to be worth it to pick players from G2 instead of Fnatic. And they do play in relatively high kill score games. Yonkos versus Memento, Perks versus Blanc, Hjarnan versus Heiku, Wadid versus Norskarin, Wonder versus Prophet. Maybe they can play through the top lane. I'm not the biggest Wonder fan, but I think G2 wins. Maybe I would exclude Wonder and play the other four players. Fnatic versus H2K. H2K is very bad this year. They did just get a change, and supposedly people are starting to think that they're a much better team just because they got shook on their team now. I think that is not the case. I think Fnatic is much better than H2K. So this is probably a good thing for Draftkings players who pay attention. So this means on the next slate, Fnatic should beat H2K. Everyone's going to have the memory of H2K losing to Fnatic in their memory. And on Saturday, you can take H2K players at a lower ownership and stuff like that, and maybe they're actually going to be worth it. I'm not sure who they're playing actually on Saturday, so maybe that's wrong. But I'd watch out for H2K in future matchups because they are a little better, but they're not good enough to play against Fnatic. The best players to take from Fnatic are probably jungle through support, because Soaz, you never know what Soaz is going to do. Soaz is a wild card. Maybe you want to take him just to give yourself a little bit higher upside than the support, because there are games that SOAS just goes out of control and has a ton of kills and wins the matchup one-on-one. Vitality versus Giants. Vitality, Giants. Maybe this is the most interesting matchup of the week. It's the second closest matchup. Cabochard versus Ruin. That's a pretty close matchup. I think they're equally skilled. Gilius versus Joko. Similar. I don't think that there's a huge talent disparity there. Jizuki versus Betsy. I like Betsy a lot. I know Jizuki's been playing well throughout this season, but I think Betsy's just as good as him. Mini Trupa versus Steelback. Mini Trupa is probably better than Steelback. Jack Troll versus Targamas. So, I mean, Vitality... I mean, if they play through their 80 carry, then I think they're going to have a better chance at winning the game. So probably go with a Vitality stack. I think a Giant stack is also good. The Giant stack would be more contrarian. Giants are going to have lower ownership because they're playing against a team that's currently tied for first place. So if you think Giants can pull off the upset, I would take top 380 carry and potentially the team as well. Interesting matchup. I'd be interested to watch this one. I think I'm going to try to watch this game because I want to see how Jizuki versus Betsy goes. I think that'll be a good matchup. Schalke versus Misfits. Misfits is favored over Schalke. There's a very small difference in terms of the teams. This is the closest matchup. It makes sense that this is the game that they would pick to have as the closest matchup. And maybe I like Schalke more. I do like Vizicachi more than Alfari. Pride versus Max Lore. Pretty similar. Nuke Duck versus Senkux. Senkux is better. Hansama versus Upset. Very similar. Mickey versus Vander. That's the same too. So I like Vizicachi more than Alfari. And Senkux more than Nuke Duck. So this is a very close matchup. Can Schalke force a win through the top side of the map? I think they can do that. I think it's definitely an option. But this is the most expensive underdog. Misfits are the most expensive Schalke is the most expensive underdog on the day. So if they're the only underdog to win, they're the best ones to have. If another underdog pulls off an upset, they'll probably have just as good, if not better value, and you'll have more money to spend. So hard to say. The one problem is if Schalke does win this matchup, there is the potential that Vizicachi wins the game on his own, and it's like a low kill score game. Because I think Unicorns of Love historically, when Vizicachi was doing really well, he could keep the kill total low in a game, and they would win through the macro. And I think he probably brought those attributes to his new team. So again, I would be comfortable taking any players from Schalke and their team. So going through that one more time. Splice versus Unicorns of Love. Unicorns of Love. Splice definitely the better option. G2 is a better option. Fnatic's a better option. Vitality versus Giants. This is an interesting one for me. I think the first three matchups, the favorites should win somewhat decisively. Unicorns of Love has a better shot than Rockhat or G2. So Splice, G2, Fnatic. I think Vitality will most likely win, but Giants has a shot. And then Schalke versus Misfits. I think this is the closest matchup, and that's why they're priced the most similar. So this is going to be where you need to make a real decision. Which team do I think is actually better? And do I think Misfits is going to be the highest scoring underdog on the day? They have the best chance to win the match, but that doesn't always mean they'll have the most points. That's actually something I need to look at a little more, because I know if you look at the fantasy points per game, it shows that since both of these teams are kind of 50-50, the numbers in their wins aren't that high probably. So if you look at most of these games, that's a win that's 38, that's 40, but they also have low kill score victories, which is something that you don't want from your more expensive players. So that means that Schalke is probably the better option just in general. So if I play this slate, I'm going to be picking some Schalke. All right. So in terms of underdogs, Schalke, Giants, Unicorns of Love. I think those are the three that I'm kind of picking between. Splice, G2, Fnatic, big favorites. So G2 and Fnatic, that's where you get the most equity out of your money, because you have to assume that G2 and Fnatic are both going to win. Unicorns of Love is probably the second or third best underdog. Giants are the second or third best underdog, depending on how you feel about Unicorns, and Schalke is the best underdog. And that's all I have. So thanks for watching my video, my initial thoughts on the EULCS for Friday Draftkings. Let me know how you think these matchups are going to go. Drop a comment. Tell me who you think is going to win every matchup, who the best players are going to be. Oh, I didn't do Pichael's picks. I didn't do the individual players. So I think Splice is going to win. And I would think Kabi is the best option for DraftKings. I think G2 wins. I think Perks is probably the best option for DraftKings. Fnatic's going to win. I think Caps is going to be the best one for DraftKings. The fact that he plays Corki into Galio, and like they've shown that they can play Corki well, I think that gives a huge upside to Caps. Vitality versus Giants. I think Giants is going to win this one. I would say Giants and Betsy. I think this is going to be a huge game for Betsy. I think he shows he's just as good, if not better, than Jizuki. And then last up, Schalke versus Misfits. I think Vizicachi is the best player from Schalke. So once again, thank you for watching, and good luck out there.